There's Rachel. I'm going to be referring to you, so, okay. I'm so honored to be speaking to all of you and to be one of the last. I knew that practicing meditation would probably, hopefully, help me with my anxiety, with relentless negative self-thinking, would calm me down. But what I didn't know is that it would change relationships in my life. I'm Julia Jacquette, and I am a teacher of studio art here in New York City in the biggest public, and that means a lot to me, public art and design school in the city. And like a lot of professors, I was asked to be the leader of my team. And I reluctantly said yes. I love my subject matter, painting, but a lot of professors get asked to do that. So I became the chair of my department. And soon after I did, the pandemic happened. And I had to lead my colleagues, my students, into remote learning, something I knew nothing about. And all the while, worrying like crazy about their well-being, their education. How the heck do you get an art education over Zoom? How do we teach? So I felt I was their caregiver. I also was the caregiver of my parents, who were then alone on the Upper West Side. And at the time, I also had a very painful infection, physical infection, which was only treatable by surgery. And maybe some of you did this. I was clenching my teeth so much, I cracked 3 of them. This, I found out, was quite common during the pandemic. How could I make certain that all my students were safe and getting educated during this time? So one of my colleagues was my deputy to my sheriff, but barely helped me. If that colleague did, it was reluctantly and was evasive and subtly adversarial. This pushed my already really tenuous mental state to a pretty new low. And this colleague, at a certain point, called me out on a decision that I made, one that we agreed with, but felt that I didn't do quickly enough. They berated me until I was openly weeping, and they just dug in more. Again, this really pushed that mental state even further. I so badly wanted to just quit at that point, just leave my job. But again, what would that do to my students and my colleagues? So I turned to one of the kindest people I knew, my yoga teacher, Brandy. And I met her on this very spot in this room. And she was giving me Zoom yoga classes during the pandemic. There was something not working in the interface of the particular system that we were using, and she just said, and so the classes that she was giving, they were wonky, students couldn't get in, and she just said, I'm gonna just give them to you directly, Julia, and I'm just gonna charge you what I normally would in a class, which was barely anything. She was one of the people that got me through the pandemic. And she led me to meditation and to everything Three Jewels offered. She led me to this community, basically. Thank you, Brandy. So, post-pandemic, the roles switched. I became the deputy to this colleague's sheriff. How hilarious is that? I mean, it's like out of a novel, right? It's like karmic practice that's almost like too deliberate. And I knew, like, part of me so badly just wanted to say, nah, 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 nah. But I knew. And I also knew love bombing out of spite does not work. So I knew that the love had to be pure. And I learned this through meditation. So I poured patience, compassion. I told this colleague they could reach out to me at any time. Everything I learned when I was the chair, they could tap into. I helped this colleague as much as I possibly could, and the relationship began to transform. And we became collaborators. We now create all these initiatives together. We have a great time doing it, and all of that radiates out. All of that stuff we do together helps our students. It helps our colleagues who help their students. So that relationship has affected the relationship of every other person in the department. And I'm gonna just do a little add-on because I have to. So Rachel, you once said in a talk, like you had a card, this was in an ACI class, that was like on your desk for months. Maybe it was for maybe Three Jewels, and you then like, oh, it was there for months, and then I finally went. And so what do they say in poker? I'm gonna match you and raise you. I'm gonna match you and I'm gonna raise you 40 years because, as many of you know, I had this incredible teacher, my aunt, who was a painter. I worked for her as an assistant. She was a Buddhist, and I knew that I eventually would get here, but I was so conscious. I thought I was such a mini-me, an Yvonne mini-me, that I couldn't do that. I was such a copycat. So it was pride that kept me from coming here. Ironically or perfectly, she herself would say, don't worry about it. That's just all karma and emptiness. You're gonna get here anyway. And it'll just take time, and when it does, it'll be perfect. So, Yvonne, thank you. The practice of learning meditation has changed my life. And again, the thing that I never expected was how it would change relationships in my lives. And it has been such a joy to have this community and all the support it's given me. I wouldn't have been able to change that relationship if it wasn't for all of you. Thank you.